it needs a referendum. Adding numbers of counties is not changing the basic structure of government. That is numbers, just like addition of constituencies. Every 10 years, IBC and Parliament is allowed to add or review the numbers. So the question will be, if we are saying we create a third layer, there is the national government, there's a mongrel in between, then there are counties. That one will need a referendum. But on question of numbers, it is purely like that. Let me explain as to why this is very critical. Let us go very fast to the formation of this current constitution.
Okay.
The Bomas draft recommended 74 counties. These were districts at that time. There were districts that were gazetted, and there were districts that were operationalized but that were not gazetted. The essence of district formation under Moi regime was to take services to the people. So when we went to Naivasha at the eve of the enactment of the 2010 constitution, the debate was, do we go a presidential system or do we go a parliamentary system? By consensus, they agreed that they will not have more than 50 counties. Then how do they deal with it? When they said, we will go with the number of districts that were gazetted. At that time, the number of districts that were gazetted were 46 plus Nairobi. That is why we have 47 counties. The question about population was never factored in. The question about marginalization, of ethnic marginalization, was never factored in. The question of culture hegemony was never factored. So there was no scientific basis for creation of counties. When you look at the boundaries of electoral, the wards and members of parliament constituencies, it is scientific. No constituency is supposed to have more than 65 to 67,000 registered voters. If you exceed, after 10 years, they will have to review that constituency. If it is a ward, there is a number of registered voters spelled by IBC that is supposed to be there. There's a threshold. In counties, for example, you look at Tharaka Nithi, 250,000 people. You look at Kiambu, 2 million people. The amount of revenue that goes to Kiambu and the amount of revenue that goes to Tharaka Nithi, there is almost a near parity. But do these people in Kiambu, do these people in Kakamega, do these people in Nairobi who are over 4 million get services? The question about what this member of parliament is asking is a scientific way of delimiting counties, the way the constituencies are done. And that is what people need to understand, that you do not understand the pain unless you are marginalized in a certain electoral process. We have seen what has happened in terms of elections that have just ended. Kenyans can always claim they are not tribal. But when it comes to resource allocation, the basic element is the tribe. How? Employment in public service is county-based. You've seen the PSS, you've seen the CSS. It is county-based. Resource allocation is county-based. So when is it convenient?
But for example, just county-based? Look, can you just hold on to that point? We'll come back. We really have to take a break.
30 seconds.
Yes.
I think when you look at the conversation of the boundaries review, where it started with the Legali Commission, one of the things that we need to ask ourselves, for example, in the old constitution, Embakasi was 19 times bigger than Lamu. Now, that is a problem that we could go back to if that, that proposal sails through.
All right.
Under the new constitution, the names and the boundaries review of constituencies is said to be periodic. For example, IBC between 2020 and 2024 needed to deliver a review, at the end of the day. So we need to ask ourselves, should we wait for the IBC ways? Because the current boundaries are based on 2009 census, which was distributed in 2012. we have a new census at the end of the day.
Okay.
So, and IBC is supposed to review those boundaries between 2020 and 2024. Unfortunately, the remaking and the remodeling of IBC, you know, in
That's
the
a
last
whole
political
other
season
dynamic,
was
right.
another dynamic.
Okay.
So, should we wait for IBC to review boundaries, or should we go and constitutional amendment way?
Okay,
You know, that's the
and
question.